better to do it now than during the stream, right?
Hello, can everybody hear me now? Okay, good. All right, so hey guys, welcome to the Games Tavern Happy Hour, where we do the news, reviews, and interviews in the tabletop space for all the things that you're most interested in. And we are excited as a special charity interview period that we're interviewing Christian from CZRPG. Did I pronounce that game right, Christian?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Hello.
great.
Yes.
And so what we'll be talking about is Christian's becoming a creator, where he's from, and a whole lot more about his upcoming Kickstarter, because I'm kind of excited about that as well. And so let me transition over here. Oh, there we are, Christian. So say hello.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invitation, Raid.
Oh, it's
very
my
nice.
Pleasure. It's my pleasure. And Christian is, we're a big fan of your stuff. We've looked at your maps for a long time now, and we've been thrilled to see your growth as you've continued to expand on all of your shows. So, talk me through what's been exciting for you in terms of the latest couple weeks here.
So the latest couple weeks.
Yeah, I know you've been telling me about all these gray hairs.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, I had an idea. I don't remember exactly when it came, but at some point in this year, I decided that I wanted to do a Kickstarter, but I didn't know when. And well, it's 3 days from happening. And for anyone who wonders how it is in the back, let's say backstage to organize a Kickstarter, it is a mix of emotions. It is exciting, but it's also stressful. So I am enjoying the experience quite a lot, but it's a lot of work. I mean, I barely do anything else aside from working my day job and spending some time with my family. 90% of my time is with the Kickstarter.
Outstanding. Well, I mean that's part of how you get to that growth, though. You got that surge period, and then after the Kickstarter, you got a smaller surge period of fulfillment. And then everything that happens with that, as long as everything's successful on the Kickstarter.
Yes.
Before you got into all of this stuff, were you always a tabletop gamer? Did you grow up that way? How did that happen for you?
Well, I came in contact with tabletop gaming, more specifically Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, in 1999. So this also reveals a little bit of my age. Mm-hmm. But it's fine. I was in 8th grade, and a colleague invited me to play this, and I was open to the possibility. Let's see what that is. And I haven't stopped, aside from a maybe 1-2 year hiatus, but I've been playing since then. And the group is mostly the same. So most of the people, we know each other for over 20 years now, and some new members came, but at least half is from back that time.
Now, just so our audience knows, because our audience is mostly American,
okay.
and I speak kind of funny compared to you.
Yes.
So, can you tell everybody, where in the world you're from? Because I know this, but I want the audience to know this as well. I think it's important.
That's all right. So I am from Brazil, so that's why you will figure out I have an accent.
Yeah.
So I am Brazilian. I am also German, but I don't speak German. It's like a second citizenship I have because of my father and my grandfather and so on. But I am Brazilian. So this is my main, exactly.
Did you grow up in Brazil? Mostly?
More or less. I lived 10 years in France, but I've been here in Brazil for 21 years, since 1998.
Okay, since 98. So it was in Brazil that you came in the 8th grade and discovered Dungeons and Dragons?
Exactly. I was in Brazil for 1 year after I came back from France.
And Brazil's got a massive D&D community. I was very surprised to find out just how massive it is. It rivals the U.S. very, very strongly in terms of that, and in terms of content and production. It's pretty amazing to see how many people are putting all of that together, and and then there's entire Portuguese games as well.
That's mostly because a lot of people here don't speak English, and English is a barrier for a lot of people. And this is something I try to convince people, but it's very difficult. I tell them to see English actually as a challenge, as an opportunity instead of a barrier, because because English can open doors, you know, and if you only know Portuguese in this hobby, it gets a little bit restricted, because then there is the new books, and you don't know about them because you don't understand the language. So it's tricky, but it is what it is, right? So there isn't much to do about that. I think other countries face maybe similar situations as well. Brazil is not unique there.
I think with international business in general, when you don't know the language of the country that you're going into, you're going to have some challenges. So if I go to Japan, for example, I need to know Japanese. If I was to go to Hong Kong, I better know Chinese, or whichever dialect they're pushing. I think Mandarin, is the big one. And then so on and so on. If I go to Brazil, I better know Portuguese. I mean, it's that simple, right? So as you started playing Dungeons and Dragons, I mean, did you have other hobbies that shaped your gameplay experience?
Well, besides, actually before TTRPG, I've been a gamer. So I used to play Super Mario, or even Mario, in the Nintendo 8-bit, so that very old one. And yeah, after that, Super NES, and then PlayStation, and so on. So I've always been a gamer. So I have a PlayStation 4, and once God of War Ragnarok is out, I'm gonna be obligated to get the PlayStation 5. I won't have an option because I am a big fan of God of War. So, but I don't have time to play right now at the moment because of my side business, which is CZRPG.
Yeah, and you know, we've kind of spoken semi-regularly off and on since the spring of May, right? Since May, yeah. That's when we really started to connect, I think. Yeah.
Since the last event, right? Your last charity event.
Our last Super charity streams, yeah, and it's been really interesting watching, you know, the evolution of what you're doing from maps to a whole lot more than maps, right? And where all are you on right now? You're on DM's Guild?
So DM's Guild is where I started. I have my name on roughly 1,000 products. No, sorry, 100. Sorry, 100 products, not 1,000. And then March this year, I started to expand to Drive to RPG with maps. I have over nearly 80 maps there, bundles and so on. But it's going slow. I need to intensify my presence on Drive to RPG. And well, now I am getting into the world of Kickstarters. And 2022, I would like very much to get into January with a Patreon as well. So
Patreon.
That's more. Yeah, it's a plan.
Patreons are great. We have a Patreon as well. We love Patreon. It is a great platform for creators, and it helps that you already have quite the following. So and quite a catalog of product that people are interested in. So. So talk me through your map making. I mean, like, you make a ton of maps, and we've seen some of them. As a matter of fact, we're going to be running the Great Trial by you on Monday, and we're really excited about that. And we were able to, you know, convince you to possibly even sponsor that a little bit, which we really appreciate as well. But with that, we also discovered, you know, you actually put together a pretty good dungeon set too, not just maps, but actual adventures to go with that.
Yes.
So do you DM a lot as well?
I have DM'd for quite a while, but then we've been playing Tomb of Annihilations since 1.5 years back. So I haven't been DMing a lot lately, but I have DM'd for maybe over 10 years, yes.
Okay. What about the map making itself? Where did you learn the skills to do? I mean, like, you're doing a lot of graphic design and some other good stuff in there too. Like, the artwork is pretty cool. What is it that's part of your map making process?
That's funny because when I had finished writing The Great Trial, which is my first product I released.
Mm-hmm.
And then I needed maps. So I asked for cartographer rates, and I saw that it was, for someone who was just barely starting, it was a little bit expensive to commission maps. And one of the person who gave me a rate was really nice and told me that, gave me suggestions of softwares I could try out and do them myself. And then I said, well, let's give them a try. So I experimented on Wonder Draft. Dungeon Draft didn't exist yet, so I went for Dungeon Painter Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Then shortly afterwards, Dungeon Draft was released, and Incarnate as well. So I've tried quite a few softwares. The original map of The Great Trial was done on Dungeon Painter Studio, but then I redid it all from scratch in Dungeon Draft. So the version you're gonna use is the Dungeon Draft version. And so those maps are dungeon maps. So the way I go is I try to think what I want in the dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
And I start, building the shape first. So the shape of the rooms, the corridors, try to think where I'm gonna put some traps and where I need rooms and so on. And once I have this structure, I go for the details. I really like details on maps. So some people prefer Dyson logo maps without details, and that's fine. But I know a lot of people who like detailed maps. So there's an audience for, all kinds, all tastes. So my taste is detailed maps. So I once I have the structure, I go there and put, tables, I put rugs, I put everything that's needed, the doors, the lighting. Recently, I've been focusing a lot on shading and lighting. And lighting. And this makes a lot of difference, actually, on a map when you have, I could show you a map before I do the lighting and the shading process, and after I do that, it's a whole different thing. So I try to make the map as detailed as possible. And speaking about a dungeon map, so that's the way I go: structure, and then details, and final step is shading and lighting. Very
Details,
simplified.
Shading and lighting.
Exactly.
Okay. Do you when you create your maps, what's part of your creative process? Do you listen to music? Do you say, what is the problem I'm trying to solve here? How does that work for you when you're designing all that?
It depends if it's a map I'm doing for me, or if it's a commission, or if it's a map that's it's for someone else. So if it's a map for me, I can give a very recent example. For anyone who is on my email list, I provide exclusive free content every month. So meaning I create an exclusive map with an encounter, and sometimes even a creature, brand new creature, and I give it for free. So I was working this week on November's map to give ahead of time a little bit, to save some time and have it ready beforehand. And I wanted, the theme is urban. And I've done alleyways, I've done rooftops, I've done taverns, I've done a park. And I thought, well, let's do a graveyard. Okay. So I started doing fences. So I delimited where the fence is going to be. Then afterwards I went for everything around the fences, which was less area. So all the trees and the stuff, the rocks. And then I went actually inside the graveyard, and then I made the path, I put the tombs, and I decided to put a small mound, very small mound, like a very tiny hill, with a mausoleum on top. And I put some gargoyles and stuff, and I had an idea. I'm gonna make a custom monster which is a mimic mausoleum. It's gonna be crazy.
That is perfect. You go into a graveyard thinking, what could possibly already go wrong, and then it's even worse than you think. I love it.
Exactly.
I love it. What is so how did that come to be, the mimic mausoleum? How did you decide I'm going to go with mimics?
This was just so it was a little bit random. So I downloaded the map, the first version,
Mm-hmm.
and I shared it on my Discord server where I have some people who provide me feedback and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I showed the map and so on, and then I was looking right in the center, that mausoleum, 20 by 20 feet, exactly the size of a gargantuan creature. Then I saw the gargoyles. I saw there are some little dragon statues also in the corners, and I thought that would be nice to have a mimic. And the mimic topic came up because of one of the encounters this Kickstarter here is going to be a mimic galleon, so a mimic ship, which is inspired by a monster from 2C Gaming. Okay, and
2C Gaming. Funny
yeah,
you should mention 2C Gaming. Rick Service from 2C Gaming is going to be DMing later tonight.
oh, so that's a nice coincidence. So we are using some of their monsters,
Mm-hmm.
and then I remembered. So I looked at that, and I decided to make a mimic. Just as it was a wild idea. Probably I'm gonna have some attacks that are the gargoyles with a very, very short reach. They just go off flying and they come back to the mimic. So it's like a melee range attack, but with a reach of, I don't know, 20 feet. And then the little dragons on the corners, they're gonna breath necrotic stuff. So it's gonna be slightly wild, but let's see how it goes.
Yeah, outstanding. When did you decide, I want to make this into a business? I'm doing all this cool stuff. I love making these things, and you want to go into a business doing this? Because it's not a decision. I mean, a lot of people get into the decisions thinking, this will be fun, and I'll get to do my hobby. But not everybody puts in the work like you do.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was at the end of 2020 when I reached a situation that I had no clue I could reach, because the results were really nice, and they took me by surprise. And I wrote a blog post about that, and it's I think it's the blog the tweet with the most engagement I had so far ever on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were liked the topic, and they thanked me for the information I shared there. I met quite some people. I met Sly Flourish there, for example.
He's great. Mike Shea is awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's been great. And now we have the Discord server about email and so on. But then I thought, you know what? Let's do this a little bit more seriously in 2021, since apparently this thing actually worked. And it was early 2021 when I realized that I needed a company, because if I was doing this without a company, I would have to pay taxes as a person, which is
much higher.
Which is very, very high. And in Brazil, sadly, we have a very, very corrupt government. So it's basically paying taxes in Brazil. It's like, giving to the politicians' pockets. So let's not do that. Let's create a company and have taxes as a company. So it's a bit more reasonable to do that as a company. And also because actually maybe in the future I could make a living from that. I don't know.
Yeah, you sure could.
Who knows?
If you haven't read 1,000 Fans, I'll send it to you. But 1,000 Fans is really the trick, and I'll make sure I get that to you.
I know the concept. I don't remember it very well, but I remember someone telling me, maybe it was even you, but I heard about it already, but I don't know the details.
I'll send you the actual post from the person from their actual website where they write it up, and they were looking at the science of economy and economics, and looking at smaller creators and how they're able to do it in their niche businesses. So very good stuff to read.
I think I remember, basically it says in overall lines that if you have 1,000 true fans, you can basically kind of live from that. I guess something like this.
You can make a living.
I think that's the one.
But they got to be true fans, not
exactly.
I mean, but so you can have a lot of these extra, nice fans, but true fans are the ones who count the most in terms of actual making an economic impact in your life. With you, were there any points so far in this that you've looked back and went, "What am I doing? Should I keep going? Or should you quit?"
Sometimes I have some, how can I say this? I worry a little bit because I put I take things sometimes a bit too seriously. So for example, I have my day job, which is 40 hours a week, but sometimes a little bit more when I have meetings outside my work, but let's make it 40. And then I work 20 to 25 on CZRPG, so that's 65. Then I have fixed some things. I am sleeping better because I would sacrifice a lot of sleep because of that, and I am not doing this right now anymore because of health. So I'm trying to sleep 7 to 8 hours per night. Sometimes I do allow myself to play a little bit of video game, but it's very rare, although more than maybe 6 months back. And something I need to really work on, and this is the most important part, is spending more time with my family, because I don't want to be in this spacing for 5 years. It's too crazy, and it could affect me in ways I don't know now. So I am willing to put in some extra work right now for a short period, maybe let's say 2-3 years, and then afterwards maybe I'm being naive, but slow down slightly, so I can enjoy my family more, because I have been spending less time. I have a almost 6 years old daughter, and I feel bad because sometimes I don't spend as much time as I should with her. So this is it's complicated for me.
Balancing work and family, especially when you're trying to do a startup, is always going to be a challenge, I think. How have you dealt with that? I mean, you mentioned your health and your sleeping. What are some things that you did to help get your sleep back in order?
The thing I've done, so basically I've been working from home at my day job, so I have a lot of flexibility time. So the way I fixed it, first of all, I don't work until very, very late, like 2 a.m. Very rarely now I work until 2 a.m. It's usually 1 a.m. And if I go until 1 a.m., I wake up like 8:30, 9, which is roughly 7:30, 8 hours. So basically what I do is I really set my alarm to between 7 to 8 hours. So this is how I've been doing. And in the past, I would sometimes work until 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. So I'm skipping that right now.
Yeah, so you just cut down some of the workload. Probably found some efficiencies in some of your workflows as well. And one of the lessons I learned working for game companies is that first thing you do is you schedule your vacations and your family time. Then you schedule everything around that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. There's a tip for you. I hope it works.
Yeah. Oh, we had vacation on July, so that's fine. So
what do you guys do for vacation?
Well, I do love to travel, but right now for 2 reasons it's very difficult. One of them is COVID, and the second one is our currency is currently very, very weak. The Brazilian real is the weakest it's been, I think, in the history of the country. So if I want to go to anywhere like North America or Europe, it's going to be very expensive, like so. So for this reason, we kind of stayed home, and we went for a day to a close place in the, not exactly mountains, but it's a place like a mountain place. It has a German architecture. We went to an indoor snow place, which is something I guess most Americans or Europeans wouldn't do, like go to an indoor place with snow. You have snow in the outside, so you don't need it indoors.
Oh wow! Okay.
And I snowboard a little bit as well.
How long have you snowboarded?
Oh no, I mean it's not like an official hobby. I've done it 3 times, but when I was at that place in July, I snowboarded for like 1 hour. It's pretty fun, but also somewhat difficult.
Awesome.
Not easy. You go very fast, right? The snow takes you away.
Nick in chat asks a very great question. He'd like to know if real life has ever inspired any of the making of your maps. So any locations you visited that have inspired some of your maps.
Real life. Well, I remember having we went to this, I think it was during vacation actually. So when we were in this place in the mountains, which are not actually mountains, we went to do some trails, and there were some waterfalls, lots of waterfalls at that place. And then I kept taking lots of pictures of the stream flows just to get an idea on how like water, although I could also look it up online if I wanted to, but it's basically because water, it's if you want to do some more realistic water flow on cartography, this is slightly difficult. I am not 100% there yet, but I'm improving my water skills, and it takes a lot of time. So doing a stream, a river, it's one of the most time-consuming things you will do on a map. So, but specifically, I haven't been inspired by a specific in real life location. I usually am inspired by other cartographers. So what I do a lot for inspiration is I think Nick is on that server too. Mm-hmm. I am on Incarnate Discord server, and there's lots of nice people putting maps there. So I get a lot of inspiration from that, and I learn a lot from these people as well. Mm-hmm. So there's a guy, Jeremy, he's on that server. He has a Patreon. Mm-hmm. I learned a lot, and I stepped up my game in terms of water and river with him as well. So in real life, not that much, but it's mostly from other people. I inspire myself from the works of other people, and this is also a great way to learn, right? With folks, with like mentors and so on.
Well, that's amazing. And you know, sometimes just getting a lot of people in the same creative space talking is a huge inspiration. It ignites more and more ideas as we go off with all that. And Nick, thank you for that question. I really appreciate it. Where is your biggest challenge right now in terms of, you know, what you're considering doing next?
Well, I won't mention the Kickstarter because that's a challenge on itself. But the biggest challenge, I think, it's being a one-person business, because so basically I have to do production, and then I have a very long list of stuff I should be doing, but I procrastinate that because it's not productive. So, for example, I should be working on the SEO of my website. I haven't done that yet. I need to finish setting up my web store. I will need at some point to prep the initial content of my Patreon. So many things that are not considered productive, marketing, so on. They need to be done at some point, but I haven't had the time to really focus on them. So I'm focusing on producing content. So it's tough. At some point I will figure it out. Maybe I have some people who help. Like I have 2 people in marketing who help a lot. So all these things you see here, they are from them. They do the graphical ads and all the assets from my Kickstarter, they are from them. So they help a lot with that. I really like their work. But there are some things that they cannot help. Like these things I mentioned is usually I will have to do it at some point. Yeah, exactly. SEO. I will need to analyze and spend some time and see how to do that.
You and I should talk Google Analytics later.
Yeah, that's also a helpful skill, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that Google Trends and a couple other cool things like KISS metrics can always be very useful. So, actually, let's kind of transition into your Kickstarter a little bit. I know you're excited about it. I'm going to put it up on screen for everybody to see here real quick. Amazing encounters and places, 8 locations, 56 encounters, 64 maps, 230 pages of amazing Kickstarter goodness, and of course some amazing graphics that go with it. What do you want to add to this in terms of explaining what this Kickstarter is and why people should be excited about it?
Cool. So, well, I needed to define a topic because I wanted to do a Kickstarter, and I thought, but what will I actually do? And I see lots of settings. Settings are very common in Kickstarter, but I don't have any. And I feel like while many settings are successful, I, as a customer, I cannot consume a lot of settings because I don't play that much, and I usually play most of the times in Forgotten Realms. So I thought, well, maybe I'm not going to do a setting. Okay. So what could I do actually? Adventures, I'm slightly wary of adventures, so I'm not sure how they will actually fare. So I thought, well, what have I been focusing so far? Encounters and maps. Great. So let's do something related to encounters and maps. So that's how the idea came up. And what is the idea behind that? So basically, any dungeon master or game master can speed up their world building if they don't have time. So a lot of people are in a rush nowadays, and you want to have your world, but you kind of you lack inspiration, or you lack the time to kind of enhance your world. So you can simply drop these locations in your world. They will have regional maps, so you can fit them in specific places of your world. They are terrain based, meaning it's a forest, it's a coast, it's a swamp, it's a mountain. They have lore, okay? They have standalone encounters. So let's say you don't want to run this as an adventure, but you want to have 1-2 encounters. You select the ones you like the most. However, if you really like the plot we have, you can tie all 6 encounters and add a 7th encounter, which is like a final plot encounter, and turn all this into an adventure. And you can run it at any level, 1st to 20th. So that's the main idea. And of course, maps. Each encounter has 1 map. So that's and also each location has 1 regional map. So that's why you get to the 64 number. And in terms of digital versions, it's gonna be more than 300 versions.
300 versions?
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Because digital, right?
Digital.
Basically, because you have night versions, you have 3 transparency versions, you have rain versions, sometimes mist versions, and then everything is gridded or gridless. So I think it's gonna be more. Yeah, it's gonna be more than 300, but I'm putting it low. Yeah.
That's amazing, and for digital content, that's amazing. Is this going to be on? I'm going to take a guess here. Is this going to be on Shard Tabletop by chance?
Yes, it will as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm excited to see that then.
Actually, the free preview is there already.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was. It went live yesterday. The free preview.
Okay, so check out Shard Tabletop, and if you're new to Shard, you can check it out using that link right there and get 20% off. In addition to that, we have some amazing Shard bundles in our charity stream this week. A $50 Adventurers bundle and a $100 Dungeon Masters bundle. Both are fantastic for players. The Dungeon Master bundle is superior for Dungeon Masters as well. Definitely check them out. You're getting way more in those charity bundles than you would ever get otherwise. Far more than $100 and $50 worth of things there. So check it out when you get a chance. Back to CZRPG. Are you excited, or are you just worn out from the Kickstarter? Which is it for you at this point?
It's both of them. So basically, at some points, sometimes I get nervous out of the blue because it's coming so close to the date now. And I don't suffer from imposter syndrome a lot. I'm not a confident person, but I'm also not someone who feels the imposter syndrome. But this Kickstarter has triggered it a little bit more because I feel like something will go wrong. I don't know. It's looking good, but maybe something will go wrong, and I don't know. So what I do when this happens, I play some video game, just maybe for 40 minutes to chill a little bit. But it's also very exciting because I think I have a strong marketing plan, and most people who saw the visuals and the art said very nice things about how the Kickstarter is looking visually. So I am hopeful, but sometimes I am also scared a little bit. So it's tricky.
I have a feeling you're going to do quite well. I know that we're telling everyone we know about this because we're really excited to see it grow and do well.
Thanks.
So and we fully support this project as well. Is there anything that you would share with other people that are looking to I guess be a creator as well?
Yeah. So
if you could only share one thing, what would it be?
Oh, okay. So now you got me because there's many aspects, but one thing is I believe it's persistent, I would say, persistence. So when I started in this, I released my first product in February 29th. So 19 months ago, something like that. I had a very small following, like I reached 100 followers on Twitter in 10 days, but then it dragged a little bit. And at the beginning, it felt like I was screaming to the void. It took me 4 days to get my first sale, and then it paused. So it was difficult. And then I joined a group of people at the indication of an invitation of Anthony Joyce. He referred me to a DM's Guild creator Discord lounge. Really nice group full of people. And I learned so much there. Like, it was game changing for me to be in that group. And I say persistent because it takes some time. You usually, if you're someone completely new to the business, you will not release your first product usually, and it's gonna be a huge success out of the blue. It takes some time. You have to put one product out, promote it, then you put the second one. The second one can even drive sales for the first one. And then you keep promoting and you do more stuff. You put the third one. And this cycle, it's called the snowball and also the long tail. Meaning that as you grow your catalog, as time passes, this will grow your business, because every time you put something out, you can be driving people to your back catalog. And this actually works very well. If anyone is interested in seeing how this works, my blog post if you go to my website, at the very bottom, there is DM and publishing tips. And it's my blog. I don't blog a lot, but I have some useful posts for creators. And one of them tells about my experience in my first year. And I have screenshots from every month. So for example, March, I barely sold anything. Then April, even less. May, it was a little bit more. June, a little bit more. And then you can see the growth and the royalty report growing. And so every month, you have to keep going, do stuff, promote your work, don't give up. And I think this is the main one, but there would be many more tips I could give, but if you asked me for one, so let's go with persistence.
That's actually probably the best one you could give, is the persistence and explain why. I mean, that's huge right there. In terms of family and its importance to you, what's something that you do that helps you, enjoy time with family and not think about all this other stuff? Because I know in my case, I'm a raging workaholic, and I'm known for that, right? To the point where other people get driven into the ground trying to keep up with me, and I've had to slow down some things and realize, maybe I need to smell the roses too. But with you seem to have figured out a lot of things in terms of making that decision. So when you take time out with your family, how do you switch on so that you're in the moment with your family?
That is a tricky question, for the main reason because some of the things I do can be done from the mobile phone. And then sometimes there's a notification. So for me, it's really hard to be like, for example, on Saturday mornings, we go to a close by park. And then our daughter, she can, play at there is a playground, and sometimes she's there playing by herself, and my wife and I are maybe watching the dogs and so on. And sometimes I check my phone. So it's not very easy to completely be off. I would say that the easiest way to be off is, like, for example, if I'm watching something with my wife or even in family. We watched recently. We watched Paw Patrol at the theaters.
Which one?
and Paw Patrol.
Oh, Paw Patrol?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Paw Patrol. Yes.
Paw Patrol. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the children show. Yeah, right. And then this is a bit easier to focus, and then but it's not the same as being in family. So I'm still trying to figure it out, how to be more present in this world where everything is at your reach through a mobile phone. now my work. Before with SAP, it was a bit easier because I work at a company, and when I am not working, that's it. But now with a business on the side, I kind of feel like I have to be working more than I should. So I don't have an answer. I'm still trying to figure things out, but I am at least aware that I need to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that with time I will be at a better spot in regards of work-life balance.
Okay. We've got just about 10 minutes left, and we'll take any questions from the audience, of course, before we transition into Initiative Quest. But I did want to give you a chance to talk about anything you want to talk about, including more on your Kickstarter and other things specifically. And I know we've posted a link in the chat for Kickstarter. I'm going to post that one more time. If you go to Kickstarter, look up Amazing Counters and Places. You will find it. It's for 5e Volume 1. It is right in chat now. Boom. Everybody can see it now. So from now till we shut down, what do you want to tell everybody in terms of anything else?
I think Nick has a question, so maybe I can answer that question. Okay. So Nick asked
teasers,
me,
more teasers on your favorite location for the Kickstarter.
So
Nick,
basically,
you're so specific. I love it.
I would say that I am a little bit biased because my favorite location is the only one that is fully ready, and it's by a coincidence the one I wrote. So it's the Sky Isle. However, all locations are really nice. So just to give you a quick overview, we have the Bountiful Strand, really nice concept. We have the Sunken Shore. We have the Alabaster Fangs. We have really nice locations, all of them with their own characteristics. But of course, like I wrote the Sky Isles, they are like my baby, so it's I would say these are my favorite, and I cannot tease it any more than I teased it already because I gave it for free. It is on Geek Native's blog post as well.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it in emails, and it's going to be for free starting Tuesday on DriveThruRPG,
mm-hmm.
and it is for free on Shard, meaning that it's out there already, right? And if anyone needs a link, I can send it over. That's all right. Just contact me in any way. And this is my favorite location because it is very different. You have to climb like the top of the mountain, and then you think you're at the top of the world, but actually you're not, because there are some earth modes which you can scale, and it's very dangerous. Don't fall. And then you have to cross a very challenging bridge, magical bridge, and then you reach Neverdark, which is a small community of monks, the Phoenix monks, who live there, who escaped to rebuild their home after their previous monastery was burned down by a arsonist demon, let's say. So now they are there. They are on this island above the clouds, and they live in harmony. They have been practicing ways to be more less vulnerable to fire, let's say. In case this creature comes back someday, they will be more prepared. So yeah, it's pretty wild. That location is pretty crazy, because if you fall, you better not actually. Don't fall.
Where can people find you, CZRPG, on the web?
Well, on Twitter, I'm my Twitter handle is a bit tough, so that website is a good start to find me. But my handle everywhere on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter is CZ EUCH1, CZUK1.
And you can see that, if anyone's looking, you can see that on the name tag just below his face. If you just point right down there. Just take your fingers up by your chin and just point downward.
Yeah, that's
there you go.
That's
right
what
there.
It is, yeah.
It's right there.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So, in addition to that, CZRPG.com is a great website. I was checking it out earlier in the month, and just enjoying all the different stuff you got on there. And we're probably gonna be placing some orders here soon too. So don't be surprised when you see us pop up, and my email show up here and there too.
Okay.
When is the Kickstarter? The Kickstarter's live now, right?
No, it's going to be live in 3 days. So
3 days.
Tuesday. And it's important for anyone interested to notify, because there's going to be, as you can see here, there's going to be a special reward for anyone who backs in the first day or first 24 hours. It's a small one-shot with a new creature. You can see it here. So this new creature here.
Right there.
It hunts your party, so you can give some challenge for your party. And I will provide one big 60 by 60 square map. And you can get 70 digital versions of all kinds of stuff. It's basically the same thing, but in different variations. And you can even get them printed, meaning 60 inches by 60 inches in 9 different maps. So it's actually 9 20 by 20 maps, which you can put together in one huge map, physical. It's nice.
Oh my goodness gracious! Also, the
you need a big table.
Also, the party can be hunted. I'm sure they'll love that.
Yes. Or maybe they can turn the table and hunt the hunter if they're really good, right?
Yeah. Well, if they are good, a good ranger will always do that, right?
Yeah.
The hunt one shot will be included. So, folks, we're going to be wrapping up here in about 4 minutes. I just want to thank everybody for the questions. Nick, appreciate it. Time Lord's wife, thanks for popping in as well, and for everybody else who's there also. And as a final thank you, you can find us at the Games Tavern on social media. It's literally the Games Tavern, all one word. And Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find us there, even on Patreon. And you can also find us at twitch.tv/the Games Tavern during our regular stuff. And you'll be able to find this, and I'm sure if you're watching it after the fact, on YouTube, on the Games Tavern and YouTube. So check us out when you can. Find some of our great stuff. And also, don't forget, we have a big charity going on all this weekend. Tons of stuff coming up. Our next show up is Initiative Quest, where we're going to be streaming PC games that are inspired by TTRPGs. This particular one is going to be Neverwinter Online, as we attempt to survive Barovia and Ravenloft in the MMO. So,
good luck.
Yeah. Well, I've been hunted a few times in that game too. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
And with that, thank you very much, Christian. I really do appreciate your time and your generosity at explaining things to us, and sharing some about you personally.
Oh, and I actually want to thank you for this opportunity, and also for organizing this big charity event. I know it's not the first time you're doing that, so that's really nice of you, and count on me on your future events as well.
Oh, thank you,
to support this.
It's really the work of everybody who's pitched in as well. And a mutual friend of ours, John, over at Phoenix Iwaki, he also took part, and we've got Tales from the Tavern. With Gamer Mom Luna, we've got Superior Adventurers Guild, who I think you also know them too. Superior Adventurers Guild.
I sponsored them as well.
Oh, see, and then finally, Fried Dice Paradise next weekend. They'll be on as well.
Really nice.
So, yeah, they're fantastic. As well as the cast and crew of the Games Tavern and many of our friends as well. So, all right, and with that, we're going to sign off. Thank you so much, Christian. We'll see you guys all again here shortly as Initiative Quest kicks off. See you soon, guys.
See ya.